Good morning, everyone, participants, partners, speakers, and members of the large Interreg Sudoe community. We thank you all for kindly accepting our invitation to join us here today on this very special occasion. To those following us through the platform, we hope that you are safe and healthy in your home countries. It is my pleasure to announce that for the first time since the pandemic started, a reduced number of participants were able to join us here today in Barcelona. We welcome you all to the final conference of the Interreg Sudoe NanoSen-AQM project. As you are well aware, this project was funded by the Interreg Sudoe program and brings together 11 partners from 3 different countries: Spain, France, and Portugal, in the aim to develop and validate a low-cost energy consumption nanosensor system for real-time air quality monitoring. Indeed, NanoSen-AQM has faced the challenge of monitoring ambient air pollution and reporting on air quality to the public in real time in a sustainable way. The project was designed to develop an electronic system based on low-cost and low-consumption sensors and to validate the system in different locations of the Sudoe territory against a reference air pollutant analyzers. The electronic system uses gas sensors based on nanotechnology and microfabrication, machine learning techniques to discriminate and quantify toxic gases in the air, and cloud computing technologies to manage and present air quality data. Small in size, light, and simple to use, the system has been easily integrated into stations, mobile units, and personal devices for measuring air pollution, and is therefore suitable for use in sensor networks. These studies have provided high spatial and temporal resolution data and have thus allowed us to validate the predictive models of air quality. These will certainly help administrations, companies, and citizens to take well-informed measures and decisions. So, today and tomorrow, we are proud to finally present the main results of the NanoSen-AQM project. In addition, renowned air quality experts will share their thoughts on some of the key aspects of this technology and will discuss the future challenges of air quality monitoring. The consortium for NanoSen-AQM includes universities, R&D centers, small and medium-sized enterprises, and public administrations of Spain, France, and Portugal. I will quickly go through all our partners. AMB, Área Metropolitana de Barcelona, Spain. UEX, Universidad de Extremadura, Spain. BEX, Junta de Extremadura, Spain. GAF, Diputación de Ávila, Castilla y León, Spain. Aiguasol, Cataluña, Spain. UEF, Universidad de Évora, Alentejo, Portugal. UCO, Universidad de Coimbra, Centro, Portugal. UT3, Université de Toulouse, Centre de recherche interuniversitaire en ingénierie de matériel, Midi-Pyrénées, France. CNRS LAS, Centre national pour la recherche scientifique, laboratoire d'analyse et architecture des systèmes, Midi-Pyrénées, France. Rubix Sensors and Instrumentation, Midi-Pyrénées, France. And of course, our lead partner, CSIC ITEFI, Consejo Superior de Investigaciones Científicas, Instituto de Tecnologías Físicas y de la Información, Comunidad de Madrid, Spain. Just a quick note regarding the platform we've chosen for this conference. You can check the schedule of the web conference and see and download all the presentations. You can also check all the info available on each speaker, as well as their contact details. You can also contact directly with the rest of participants and interact with them. You will also find much more information about the project in the exhibitor and scientific poster area of the platform. Once you are in Zoom, and it is extremely important that you download Zoom, not just use it externally. Please make sure that you have downloaded Zoom. it would be extremely useful for all of us if you could rename yourselves with your complete name and institution for clear identification purposes. There will be an open chat allowing you to send messages and ask questions to the speakers. They can either reply through text or answer your question live. To ask a question, simply type it into the box and click send. Easy peasy. As to the simultaneous translation of the conference, you just need to click interpretation in your webinar controls, but you will only see them if you have downloaded Zoom. So please make sure that you download Zoom. Sorry to insist. And then select the language that you would like to hear. English and Spanish are available. And if you wish to hear only the translation, you should click mute original audio. The main language will be English, but some speakers will do their presentation in Spanish. You can change the language if you wish. Anyways, if you have any technical issue, just let us know through the chat and we will sort it out together as soon as possible. Just before we start, we'd like to give you a heads up regarding today's session. A very quick heads up. First, we shall start with an institutional welcome, then an introduction to the Sudoe program, followed by a thrilling session to better understand the project, after which we will show you some videos of the project results and then a short coffee break. After the break, a thorough analysis of the results of pilot tests with the panel discussion, followed by a short Q&A session. Remember, don't miss the opportunity to write down your questions through the chat. And finally, the conclusions of the first day. We sincerely hope that you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's start with the institutional welcome speech. It is a pleasure for me to introduce you to Mrs. Ana Romero, Head of Climate Emergency and the Environmental Education Area from the Barcelona metropolitan area. Mrs. Romero, when you're ready.
Okay, good morning all. Sorry, I think I can hear an echo sound. Oh no.
We can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, right now, okay. So first of all, I must excuse Ms. Imma Mayol, who is the director of the ecology area in the Barcelona metropolitan area. So I will make this welcome, this institutional welcome in her name. First of all, thank you all for being here. Let's say, even if you are in Barcelona physically or if you are virtually by the Zoom platform, we are very happy to have all the group of the project and other partnerships interested in it here. It's been a long time since we started the project, and this was a moment that was a double challenge, ending the project, but also after, while this pandemic is going through our lives. Before saying some words about the project, we would like to welcome the people who are in Barcelona. Let's hope you have a good time, because these days we have less tourism than normally. So I think you can take advantage of a different touristic city, as well as the people from Barcelona we are doing right now. And I would like also thanks the international team, the internal relations team, and obviously Barcelona Regional and Elena Beza, who all of them have been in charge of the project and of this final act every day. So just a few words about the project and the perspective from the Barcelona metropolitan area. We are used to work with universities and with European funding because we value a lot the collaboration and obviously the transfer of knowledge. This is not easy because public administrations, at least in Spain, we used to be very slow, changing the way of doing things. And the monitoring of air quality, I think, is a good example. Nowadays, we have the fixed stations who are owned by the regional government, the Generalitat de Catalunya. And these stations are very useful to us to measure the exposition of the population, but within the metropolitan territory do live about 3.2 million people. And we know that it is very difficult to have a good representation of the 10% of the exposition of all the people. So we are very, very interested in the types of measurements as the NanoSen-AQM project that provide us with low-cost measures, even if we are not still sure about their results. We are not still sure about the results of lots of technologies, because obviously there is a limit in the length of the measurement, in the duration, and also of the representativity of the results. But on the other side, and I think this project has been showing it, we have some values, some added values, as for example, the measurement of the almost personal exposition. For example, with the monitors that are installed on bicycles. And this is another point of interest, that is the implication of people, of citizens in the projects, because this is also very related to raising awareness about a problem that is very, very important in our territory, the air quality. And we know that the air quality in the Barcelona metropolitan area is directly linked to the traffic. We had a direct proof of it during the lockdown, because the levels of pollution really slow down in a very in a steepest way. And now we are recovering these pollution levels. So it's important for us to have numbers, to have good results as the ones of this project, to show our politicians how important it is to work on the improvement of air quality that is related to the improvement of health of the people who live in this territory. So I think these are the main ideas. I was interested in pointing out the values for a public administration of this transfer of knowledge. I would end here and give the floor to the people who really know and are experts about the air quality. So I repeat, welcome you all, and I look forward you to have a good time in Barcelona. Good morning.
Not sure. You can hear me or see? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for this warm welcome, Mrs. Romero. And now we're very honored to welcome our next speaker, Mrs. Alexandra Lopez from the Interreg Sudoe Secretariat in Santander, who will provide us with a general overview of the main program results and the future of the Interreg Sudoe. The floor is yours.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días, mi nombre es Alexandra López y soy responsable de proyectos en la Secretaría Conjunta del programa Sudoe. Realizo, pues, junto a Alexandre Legal, el seguimiento de los proyectos del eje 1 de innovación y del eje 2, competitividad de empresas, pues a los cuales prestamos, pues, apoyo tanto en la fase de preparación de las candidaturas como también en la fase de ejecución y cierre de los proyectos aprobados. hacemos un seguimiento técnico, administrativo y financiero de los proyectos y prestamos apoyo a los respectivos beneficiarios de los mismos. En primer lugar, me gustaría hacer una breve presentación de lo que es el programa en el cual se encuadra el proyecto NanoSen-AQM, es decir, el programa Interreg Sudoe. El programa Interreg Sudoe forma parte del objetivo europeo de cooperación territorial, más conocido como Interreg. Este objetivo forma parte a su vez de la herramienta financiera más importante de la política regional europea, que es el Fondo Europeo de Desarrollo Regional, bueno, más conocido por FEDER. La Unión Europea considera que la forma más eficiente de encontrar soluciones a los retos es trabajar en común. Aunar los esfuerzos superando las barreras nacionales permite extraer las mejores ideas, compartir buenas prácticas y evitar duplicar el trabajo. Y una de las herramientas europeas para fomentar esta búsqueda común de soluciones es el programa Interreg Sudoe. ¿Y qué entidades se benefician del programa Sudoe? Pues los proyectos aprobados son fruto de consorcios compuestos por socios públicos y o privados procedientes de regiones de diferentes países del sudoeste europeo. Las regiones elegibles, como pueden ver en pantalla, son todas las comunidades autónomas españolas, excepto Canarias, las regiones del sudoeste de Francia, sea Auvergne, Occitanie y Nouvelle-Aquitaine, las regiones continentales de Portugal, Reino Unido, en este caso Gibraltar, y el Principado de Andorra, que no recibe fondos. Entidades de otras regiones fuera del Sudoe no pueden ser beneficiarias, es decir, recibir fondos, podrán sí participar como socio asociado, que no reciben fondos. ¿Y qué temáticas apoya el programa Interreg Sudoe? Apoya el desarrollo regional en el sudoeste de Europa, promoviendo la cooperación transnacional para tratar problemáticas comunes a las regiones de dicho territorio, como la baja inversión en investigación y desarrollo, la baja competitividad de la pequeña y mediana empresa y la exposición al cambio climático y riesgos ambientales distribuido en 5 ejes prioritarios, que son los que pueden ver también en pantalla. El eje 1, investigación e innovación. El eje 2, competitividad de las pymes. El eje 3, economía bajo en carbono. El eje 4, lucha contra los riesgos. Y el eje 5, medio ambiente y eficiencia de recursos. Estos ejes prioritarios han sido seleccionados por ser aquellos en los que la cooperación transnacional tiene un mayor impacto en el sudoeste de Europa. Y en el programa de periodo de programación actual, en el 14-20, destacamos el número de candidaturas recibidas a lo largo de las 4 convocatorias abiertas, es decir, hemos recibido un total de 1.148 candidaturas y un total de 95 proyectos aprobados, entre ellos pues, el proyecto NanoSen-AQM. En relación al futuro del programa Interreg Sudoe, la Comisión Europea confirmó en septiembre de 2020 la continuación del programa para el periodo de programación 2021-2027. No disponemos todavía de mucha información respecto a este nuevo programa. Los reglamentos no han sido todavía publicados y en octubre de 2020 pues, se constituyó un grupo de trabajo que está preparando el futuro programa. Por otro lado, el programa da mucha importancia a la participación ciudadana y por ello ha habido una primera encuesta y habrá otra que cuando se disponga del borrador del programa y por lo tanto les animo a inscribirse a la newsletter para que puedan recibir esta información y más. De todos modos, todos los avances respecto al periodo de programación 21-27 pues serán publicados en nuestra página web del programa. En relación a los proyectos aprobados Sudoe, pues verificamos que muchos de ellos enfocan temáticas comunes, lo cual creemos que sería interesante que distintos proyectos intercambien pues, ideas, experiencias, creen sinergias con el fin de potenciar el conocimiento en las entidades y mejoren de este modo pues, la capacidad de innovación en el sudoeste de Europa. Y por ello, y pediría que pasaran la firmina siguiente, por favor, presentamos aquí algunos proyectos aprobados en el marco del programa Sudoe que enfocan la temática de NanoSen-AQM, que es la calidad del aire, sea o bien del ambiente o calidad del aire en el interior de edificios, de centros educativos, pues, entre otros. Y pasando entonces a los proyectos, en primer lugar, pues una breve descripción del proyecto NanoSen-AQM, que no entraré en detalles, ya que a continuación pues los expertos del proyecto presentarán con detalle los objetivos y los resultados alcanzados por el mismo. Pero bueno, en breve resumen, NanoSen-AQM es un proyecto de segunda convocatoria integrado en el eje 1 de investigación e innovación, y el proyecto pues propone una solución para monitorizar la contaminación ambiental a través de un sistema de control de calidad del aire en tiempo real. Basado en un sistema electrónico de sensores de bajo coste y bajo consumo, pues el proyecto NanoSen-AQM ofrece datos de gran precisión que permiten realizar predicciones sobre la calidad del aire. Otro ejemplo de proyecto que enfoca la temática calidad del aire es el proyecto CET4F Gas. Y el proyecto desarrolla tecnologías ecológicas innovadoras para limitar las emisiones de gases fluorados. Dichos gases de efecto invernadero, almacenados principalmente en sistemas de refrigeración y aire acondicionado, favorecen el calentamiento global y agravan, por lo tanto, los efectos del cambio climático. Así, pues el proyecto CET4F Gas contribuye a proteger el medio ambiente a la par que mejora la competitividad al fomentar la transferencia de tecnologías a las pymes del sector de la calidad de aire en varios sectores, como por ejemplo el sector ambiental, la agroindustria, la alimentación, automóvil, tecnologías industriales, en fin, diversos sectores. Tal como el proyecto NanoSen-AQM, pues este proyecto también se trata de un proyecto de segunda convocatoria y presentado también en el mismo eje, que está a punto de finalizar. Y como principales productos, el proyecto CET4F Gas pues, ha desarrollado prototipos de eliminación de emisiones y recuperación de F-gases y una herramienta online para la selección de TFIs que permite clasificar residuos y conocer mejor el impacto de los gases fluorados, así como las soluciones disponibles para su tratamiento mediante TFIs. Pues tienen toda esta información disponible en su página web y donde podrán consultar pues, estos resultados. También tenemos el proyecto Sudoe, que como pueden ver también en pantalla, es un proyecto que tiene como objetivo potenciar la aplicación de las sketches para la construcción de edificios más eficientes y respetuosos del medio ambiente que garantizan una mayor calidad de vida a sus habitantes. Para ello, el proyecto Sudoe tiene como objetivo, entre otros, desarrollar un sistema inteligente con modelos de predicción de condiciones climáticas exteriores y de producción de energía procedentes de fuentes de energía renovable y varios sistemas de control ambiental, térmico, ambiental y de calidad del aire interior para regular las condiciones ambientales de las salas de los edificios. ¿Y cuáles son los principales productos de este proyecto? Pues el proyecto Sudoe presenta el producto CETpedia, que es un sistema de información online y colaborativo destinado a ofrecer información técnico-científica acerca del estado del arte de las CETs utilizadas en edificios innovadores. Y el sistema CET Cluster, que es un sistema de información online en el que se están identificados y clasificados diferentes actores de investigación e innovación de la industria implicados en el desarrollo, aplicación y comercialización de las kits en edificios innovadores. Se trata también de un proyecto de segunda convocatoria del eje 1 que está a punto de finalizar también. Y pueden consultar en la página web del proyecto, www.sudoe.com, pues toda esta información y consultar también estos dos sistemas de información online. También del eje 1, pero de la cuarta convocatoria, tenemos el proyecto 3SQR, que si pasamos la Firmina, gracias. El proyecto ha empezado pues hace algunos meses, es muy reciente, y tiene como objetivo principal desarrollar una estrategia común para implementar soluciones sostenibles que garanticen la calidad del aire interior en edificios educativos, implementando soluciones innovadoras, sostenibles e inteligentes que van pues desde equipos, tecnologías bajas en carbono, acciones automáticas y manuales. Bueno, como referí, es un proyecto todavía muy reciente que acaba de empezar, pero bueno, el objetivo del proyecto está también relacionado con la calidad del aire. La temática de la calidad del aire no solo es exclusiva al eje 1. Podría decirse que es una temática transversal a varios ejes del programa, y entre ellos al eje 3 de economía bajo en carbono. Y como ejemplo tenemos el proyecto Climact, que es un proyecto de primera convocatoria que ha finalizado ya en junio del 2019. Pues el proyecto tenía como reto definir estrategias operativas óptimas en las escuelas como una forma de combinar una mejor eficiencia energética, calidad del aire y la eficacia de esas medidas. Y entre sus resultados ha conseguido la implementación de una metodología en 39 escuelas del espacio Sudoe y que permitió medir varios parámetros, entre ellos la calidad del aire en el interior de las aulas. También ha desarrollado una plataforma de aprendizaje activo para aumentar la conciencia de los escolares. Esa plataforma incluye contenidos específicos para la formación de los profesores y estudiantes y también propone propuestas de actividades transversales para inducir cambios de comportamiento. Ahora, todos estos proyectos que he enunciado hasta ahora pues son algunos ejemplos de proyectos que enfocan la calidad del aire, sea del ambiente, como es el caso del proyecto NanoSen-AQM, sea del interior de edificios, de centros educativos, entre otros, con los que se podrían crear sinergias. Y al final es el objetivo de los programas, es que las distintas temáticas, aunque a veces no sean las mismas, porque obviamente cada proyecto es un proyecto, pero pueden intercambiar estas experiencias y crear sinergias entre las distintas entidades que participan en ellos. Y por ello los animo a conocer los proyectos aprobados del programa Sudoe, información que podrán consultar pues, en nuestra página web del programa Sudoe, www.interreg-sudoe.eu. La información de los proyectos pueden consultarla en el apartado proyectos aprobados, donde ahí tiene una serie de información por proyecto, pues el objetivo principal, un pequeño resumen del proyecto, los beneficiarios y la localización de cada uno de ellos. En nuestra página web podrán también consultar información relativa al programa y al futuro periodo de programación también. Y por último, pues agradecer a los beneficiarios del proyecto NanoSen la invitación para participar a este evento y felicitarles por el excelente trabajo que han realizado pues, a lo largo de toda la ejecución del proyecto y pues, que nos darán a conocer ahora con más detalle a lo largo de estas 2 jornadas, de estos 2 días, pues esos resultados que han podido obtener. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mrs. Lopez, for this accurate general overview of the Interreg Sudoe. We hope we can all participate in the upcoming program. We are now starting our panel discussion with several experts who will examine specific aspects of the NanoSen-AQM project. First, I'd like to introduce you to Esther Ontañón, who will speak on behalf of our lead partner, CSIC ITEFI, and present the project in general terms. She's here with us, so when you're ready, Esther.
So thank you very much for the introduction. And I'm going to give a very brief description and overview of the project, because the presentation will be followed by individual presentations by the leaders of the main task groups of the project, and they will give more detail about the activities that has been accomplished and the outcomes of any task group. So the program, where can I see the slides? Yeah, okay. So I will go through, provide some general and basic information. Then I will go through the description of the partnership, the main objectives, and the work plan of the project. And then I will go through the main outcomes, which are named results, products, and indicators in the terminology of the program Interreg Sudoe. And finally, I will describe the main dissemination activities that has been accomplished within the frame of this project. The project, as Alexandra already mentioned, was approved in the second call of the program Interreg Sudoe for the period 2014-2020. This call was published or released in 2017, and the project NanoSen-AQM was applying for the priority axis #1, research and innovation. The total budget of the project is a bit less than €2 million, and the European Commission is funding 75% of this total budget, and this is distributed between a total of 11 beneficiary entities from the 3 main countries of the Sudoe territory. The time frame for the project was originally planned to start in April 2018 and to finish in March 2021, but because of the pandemic, it was requested an extension of the project for 3 months, so the total duration of the project was 39 months. The partnership of the project consortium has been already mentioned both by Ivana and Alexandra. Is a total of 13 entities. 11 of these entities are beneficiary entities that are granted and funded by the European Commission, and there are 2 more other entities which are called associated entities, and they are not receiving funding, but they have been actively involved in some of the tasks that has been accomplished, mainly dissemination activities, but not only. So the consortium include partners or members from the academy, a total of 4 universities, technology developers, 3 research and development centers, 2 SMEs, 3 public administrations having competences in air quality management and control. These are the Junta de Extremadura, Diputación de Ávila, as part of the Junta de Castilla y León, y el área metropolitana de Barcelona. And there is one more, a non-governmental organization, which is an associate entity, which is Ecologistas en Acción. The main scope of this project was to develop a real-time electronic system of low cost and low energy consumption, allowing massive, distributed, and ubiquitous air pollution monitoring. So basically, it was intended to allow for pervasive air quality monitoring. There are 3 specific objectives. The first one is to reduce the energy consumption as well as the fabrication cost, and also to improve the detection performance and capabilities of the gas sensors. The second specific objective is to develop a low-cost, low-power, real-time multi-sensor system for long-term continuous monitoring of air pollution. And the third specific objective is to develop a smart cloud system capable to control a network of multi-sensor systems, generate and exploit air quality data, including air quality forecast in the short and mid-term, and provide information to target audiences or groups. The work plan of the project was divided into a total of six main task groups or work packages. In the first one, we define a number of, or a set of technical specifications that the sensor, the electronic system, and the platforms for monitoring air pollution should meet in order to be able to use them and to deploy them for the pilot test or field campaigns to be addressing real scenarios. The second task group was focused on the development of the new novel and innovative gas sensors based on nanostructure materials or nanomaterials. The third task group was aimed at the development of the multi-sensor systems. The task group 4 was centered on the platforms. These are the places, or they say the places where the electronic or multi-sensor systems having these nanosensors and commercial sensors are installed in order to be deployed during the field campaigns for validating the integral system. The task group number 5 was aimed at the development of the cloud platform. And finally, the task group 6 is the pilot test of the field campaigns, in which the integral system, which is formed by the sensors installed in the multi-sensor systems and the systems installed in the platforms, together and connected to the cloud system, were tested, their performance. With regard to the field campaigns, we planned originally a relatively large number of air quality monitoring campaigns in a number of locations in Spain and Portugal, and we tried to cover as many scenarios and environments as possible. So we were intended to perform or to deploy our systems in natural areas like the Parque Nacional de Monfragüe or el Parque Regional de la Sierra de Gredos en Ávila, in rural areas like the city of Ávila and the city of Olivenza in Cáceres or Badajoz in Extremadura, in urban areas, the small size like Évora in Portugal and Lisbon, and two big urban nuclei like Lisbon and Barcelona, and also an industrial area which is the port of Sines, also in Portugal. And the time frame was expected to be from June 2020 to January 2021 for about 6 months. But also the pandemic, because of the pandemic, it was necessary to reprogram not only the locations, but also the starting point or the starting date for initiating the campaigns, as well as the duration of these campaigns. Anyway, we have managed to perform campaigns in most of the environments or the locations we planned originally. There have been some minor changes. For instance, in Sierra de Gredos, it was not possible to perform the campaigns, but instead we moved to some rural areas like Navarredonda and Barco de Ávila in the province of Ávila, which are nearby the Sierra de Gredos. In the urban areas, finally we couldn't make the campaign in Lisbon, but it was replaced by the campaign in Badajoz. So we covered a small place, like a city like Évora, a medium-sized city like Badajoz, and a big urban area like Barcelona, and also the campaign in Sines was addressed. With regard to the outcomes of the project in the terminology that is used in the program Interreg Sudoe, we have in the first place the results. And the results in our project are the development of new active and innovative active materials for gas sensing, and also platforms or substrates for gas sensors. The sensors are composed mainly of two parts. One is the active material or the sensing material, the one that interacts with the gas and reacts with the gas and provides a signal indicating the composition and the concentration of pollutants in the air. And the second component is the substrate or platform on which this material needs to be supported in order to be able to register the signal and to convert it into a measurable quantity. So we have developed both things, the active materials as well as the platforms or substrates. We have also developed and validated and let's say make a kind of proof of concept of technologies for depositing these nanostructure layers, so active layers or sensing layers on the platforms. And we have also developed distributed cloud computing systems for managing, processing, and exploiting air quality data. To finally reach these results, we have used a number of technologies that are explicitly mentioned in the program or required by the Interreg Sudoe program. These technologies has been nanomaterials, microelectromechanical system, MEMS, nanotechnology, and machine learning. The second outcome of the project is what is called the main products. There are 3 main products as requested by the call. These 3 main products come from the task group number 2, 3, and 5. The main product for task group 2 is the prototypes of innovative nanosensors for target pollutants. The main product from task group 3 is prototypes of real-time multi-sensor systems for monitoring air pollution, and the main product from task group 5 is prototype of a cloud platform as a service on air quality. There are other products which are not as important maybe as the main ones, coming from the task groups number 5 and number 6. In particularly from task group number 5, we have developed machine learning models for calibrating low-cost sensors and also for predicting and forecasting air quality. From task group 6, which is a big and very important part of the project, we have obtained, let's say, we have performed field campaigns for monitoring air quality, so we have collected and gathered a large database of data sensor data that can be used for different purposes. We have also developed a manual, or finally I think it's an online app for assessing and evaluating the quality of the data provided by the low-cost sensors. And finally, we have also performed raising awareness campaigns directed to the general public on air quality. With regard to the indicators, as I said before, indicators is the word or the keyword that the program Interreg Sudoe uses to be able to measure somehow which is the productivity of the project in terms of the program Interreg Sudoe. And these indicators are of 2 types. R&D centers, or SMEs that participate and are actively involved in the achievement and obtention of the main products. So for the main product P2.1 coming from task group with the prototypes of the nanosensors, the indicator is the number of R&D centers that has participated. In our case, there are 3, which are beneficiary entities of the project, plus an external R&D center, which is CIEMAT, that has been collaborating mainly with the SIC in a number of issues related to the development and validation in the laboratory of the gas sensors. With regard to the products coming from the task group 3 and task group 5, the indicator is the number of SMEs that has participated in the fulfillment of these main products. They are the prototypes of the electronic system and the cloud platform. In the case of the electronic systems, there is one SME participating in the project, let's say internal SME, and we have also involved 9 different companies, which has been either provided of commercial sensors, provided of air quality monitoring systems, providing air quality services, helping or managing the use and the deployment of the electronic systems in the field campaigns, or have provided software or computer systems or electronic circuits and electronic components and printed circuit boards. All the companies that somehow has been contributed to the fabrication, development and fabrication of the sensor systems have been included in this list. For the cloud platform, we have only the company that is being participated in the project, that is Aiguasol. We have, as I said, I go to the dissemination activities. We have performed 3 main events for diffusion of the project and its results. Internally, this is funded by the project and organized by the project partners. So these are 3 events, are the workshop on low or micro and nano sensors that was organized by the 2 colleagues from the CNRS in Toulouse in May 2019. And the target audience for this was the scientific and technical community in the gas sensors. The second event was the workshop on air quality in rural and natural media that was organized by the Diputación of Ávila, Junta de Castilla y León, in October of 2020. And the target audience was, in this case, the air quality officer and technicians working in the municipalities which have competencies on this issue. And this was the first one affected, let's say, by the pandemic. So it was originally planned to have a fully face-to-face meeting, but because of the situation, it was a kind of hybrid event, participating in face-to-face and also online. And finally, what should have been a summer or autumn school in Badajoz was reprogrammed and to change. We moved to an online event, which is a massive online open course organized by the University of Extremadura on the surveillance of air quality by means of low-cost sensors. This course started in May this year and is still running for a total of 6 weeks until mid-July or so. And it has been very successful in terms of the numbers of people that has been registered, has already attended the course, and is still attending the course. And it's directed to students, teachers, professors, and researchers of universities. All the project members of the project team, the members of the project team have participated, of course, in many other activities external to the project, in which we have taken advantage to diffuse to communicate the project as well as the results. So we have published a number of articles in journals. So far, they are most conference papers, about 9. And we hope that after the end of the project, because now the results of the field campaigns are still under evaluation, and the publications are not ready, we will be in the second half of this year be able to make some publications in journals, some more publications in journals. We have made a large number of communications to conferences, national and international and European, and congresses, oral communications, poster, and also exhibitors. There was also a relatively large number of academic works completed within this project by the students of the 4 universities participating in the project, mostly graduate theses and also master theses. There has been also a large number of mass media releases to local and regional press, radio, and TVs. And also we have organized and sometimes participated in events directed to transmit science and technology to the general public. Maybe the most important ones are the European Week on Science and Technology, the European Week on Mobility, or the European Night of the Researchers. Some of the members of the team members are also contributing or leading, let's say, a number of special issues as requested by or invited by several journals on topics which are directly related to the topic and the matter of this project. These are, for instance, already two special issues has been led by the mainly staff of the University of Extremadura to the journal Sensor. They are already complete on smart system technology for environmental monitoring or wireless sensor network for air quality monitoring and control. There are 3 more special issues presently open, and one is for the journal Sustainability, and the title of this special issue is basically what we are doing in this project, real-time air quality monitoring system. This is led by the University of Coimbra. And the 2 more, they are for the journal Atmosphere, and they are, the title of one is Particle Matter Sensor for monitoring for the measurement of air quality, which is led by CSIC, and the machine learning methods for low-cost air quality evaluation and prediction, that is led by CSIC together with the University of Coimbra. So this is all the information I want to transmit you. So I thank you mainly to the leaders of the different task groups that are going to make the presentations after me. Also to of course, the AMB, Area Metropolitana of Barcelona, for organizing this event of 2 days. And of course, to all the members of the project team that are not here physically, but I suppose they are connected and listening to us through the online platform. So thank you also to the people who came to Barcelona, and also to the company Ivana and Rosalia and all the people who is really taking care that everything works perfectly and in due time. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Esther. That was an excellent way to summarize 36 months of intense work and cooperation. Our next speaker is Lionel Presmanes from SNRS CIRIMAT, who will reflect on nanostructured gas sensors for the detection of air pollutants. And he also joined us here today. When you're ready, Lionel.
It's okay for the microphone, okay. So, good morning, everybody. I will present now the GT2 result that were obtained in the second work package that was focused on the development, characterization, and fabrication of nanostructured gas sensors. We had a specific objective that was to reduce the energy consumption and have a low fabrication cost, and also to have a good detection properties for gas sensors. At the final of this GT, it was necessary to give a prototype, so that was a product 2.1. The partners involved in the project in this GT were CIRIMAT, of course, but CSIC from Madrid, LAS, CNRS in Toulouse, and Universidad de Extremadura. So I will present first the multi-sensor platforms. Then after that, I will show the sensing materials that have been chosen in this project and the way to prepare these materials. After that, I will show sensing result, and then I will conclude and show the project that has been prepared. So, to make a multi-sensor or to make a microsensor, it is necessary to use a microplate. So microplate were prepared by MEMS technology at LAS laboratory. So the interest of this microplate is to get a high temperature, which is necessary to make absorption-desorption reaction, but with a low power consumption, which is few tenths of milliwatt. All this must be done with quite good homogeneity. In the project, we use two kinds of microplates. The first one was with a simple level, the electrodes and the electrodes to make the heating and the electrodes to make the sensing measurement were at the same level. So it was used by CSIC. The second one was with two levels of electrodes. The first level is for the heating electrodes, and the second one is for the sensing electrodes. And then it was used by LAS CIRIMAT because they use a specific preparation of material. So you can see in the right the two pictures showing the micro platforms. So in the left, you can see a micro sensor with 4 chips that are included in the MEMS. And in the right, we also use a special screen-printed platform. Why? Because CSIC developed materials which are able to make detection at room temperature. So it is very interesting to use a platform which is much more simpler that can be used without any heating. The sensing materials that were prepared at CSIC are metal oxide and in particular tin dioxide nanofibers. You can see in the left a picture of these nanofibers with a very small dimension and especially very low diameter. So it's very interesting to make gas detection because it is quite highly reactive. And in the right, graphene that has been used. It was 2 different commercial graphene. To make the preparation of SNO2 nanofibers, then you start by making a solution. The solution is made mainly by salt of, for example, tin in this case, and then you can make after that electrospinning deposition. So the electrospinning lead to the obtention of nanofibers that are deposited on substrate and then heat at 500 degrees to obtain the good morphology and the oxide composition. For graphene, it is not from a solution that we start, but it's a dispersion. It means that it's a solid in a liquid, and then the deposition is made just by electrospray that allow to make a micro droplet that are deposited on the platform. In this case, it's the room temperature platform. For the preparation of the thin films oxide that were made at Cerimat, we use sputtering deposition. Sputtering deposition, it's a vacuum deposition with a plasma process, and then we work under pure argon from zinc oxide ceramic target. We could obtain material with a good phase crystallization, and you can see that is also nano-sized grain with a dimension which are about a few tenths of nanometers, and with a columnar structure. After that, to make the integration of the sputtered layer onto a microsensor, it is necessary to use a mask. The mask is what is shown here in blue in the left. So the mask is used to make the deposition, and you put the mask on the microsensor, you make the deposition through the mask, and when you remove the mask, you keep the material only on the parts which are necessary when you want to heat the material and where there are the electrodes. Two processes were used to make the mask. The first one is by using plastic mask, PET mask, that was opened with a laser. So the result was quite not so bad, but in fact we chose to improve the result by after that using metallic mask, and you can see that the result in the bottom right is quite better. So finally, the sensors that could be prepared by both this technique and also by using electro spinning lead to some sensors that are shown in the bottom right. In this project, we focus on the detection of NO2, ozone, and CO. And thanks to our partners that have already made some measurement, we could see that especially NO2 and NO3 add value in the real conditions that are sometimes higher than the quality directives given by the European Commission. And then in the following that, we made mainly measurement of NO2 and NO3, which is the main gases that we choose to detect, and also some experiment on CO. So this is the first result obtained on the SNO2 nanofibers. You can see in the right that the response that can be obtained under ozone is very high, and that can be obtained at quite moderate temperature, 200 degrees. And in the left, you can see also that undoped SNO2 nanofibers are able to detect NO2 at about 200 degrees also. But if you work with doped with SNO2 nanofibers with reduced graphene oxide, you can obtain detection at room temperature, which is quite interesting. Here you can see a comparison of SNO2 without any doping, and in the right SNO2 that has been doped with reduced graphene oxide. So if you want to manage and make the measurement of ozone, it is more interesting to work at between 200 and 250 degrees, because you have a high response for the gas sensing measurement and for ozone, and at the same time you have a low response for NO2, so you are more selective. On the contrary, if you work with undoped SNO2 nanofibers, you can see that at room temperature or at low temperature, you can have a high detection of NO2 without a strong detection of ozone. So Here you can see some other experiment by changing the temperature of measurement. You can see that at low temperature, the signal, the response is less stabilized. So it can be more interesting to increase the temperature. You see in the right a curve that shows the dependence of the power, heating, and the temperature that can be obtained in the membrane, in the microsensor. Then what is interesting is that if you heat, you can have a small response time, which is more interesting to make the detection. However, if you heat too much, you have an increase of the necessary of the power, which is necessary to heat to higher temperature. So it is important to have like a compromise and to get to use a temperature that perhaps are in the medium, like 200 degrees. If you want to manage your sensor, sometimes you use a constant temperature measurement, but you can also make like a cleaning of the surface of the sensor by periodically heat the sensor layer, the sensitive layer. So it is obtained easily by heating by increasing the power. But what has been shown here by CSIC is that it also can be done by using a UV LED. So in the right, you can see a comparison of different measurement cycle, and you can see that the power that can be used to heat by using at the same time LED UV is quite small, and you have a quite good result that is reproducible. SNO2 nanofiber was also doped by palladium, and they're able to detect CO with a quite good limit of detection that was less than 0.5 ppm. So now with other experiments with graphene were made, and then graphene showed that it was able to detect NO2 and O3, and all it's made at room temperature, which is quite interesting. And the graphene was not sensitive to CO. And also, in this case, we could CC could increase the photo activation of the layer by using UV LED. This is another example of graphene detection with the other commercial material. So again, the material is able at room temperature to detect NO2 and O3 with and it is not sensitive to CO. And again, the photoactivation can speed up the gas desorption. So for gallium zinc oxide measurement, so we could change the layer thickness between 25 and 250, 30 nanometers. And we made this deposition first on simplified devices that were measured in specific test chamber. What we can see in the right is that first the thinnest film are more sensitive with response up to 70, but also that the best temperature is about 250. So at the final we choose to work with layers and thickness of 25 and 60 nanometer. When you make the measurement with a classical microsensor, most of the time you use constant temperature mode. But we have compared what occurs during constant temperature mode and by changing the temperature by heating, cooling. And what is interesting is that the final response can be higher in the case of cycled temperature mode in comparison with constant temperature mode. So it's the reason why we choose to work with both these two cycles, constant temperature mode at 250 degrees and cycled temperature mode between, first we start with between 50 and 350 degrees, and after that we reduce to 50 to 250 to avoid aging of the material. So here you can see some result obtained on the microsensor. So the microsensor contain 4 different chips. So we have the response, the simultaneous response of the 4 microsensor. So you can see that after a certain time there is a stabilization of the measurement with some response which are quite good. And you can see also that there are some dispersion of the measurement on the 4 sensor. It's normal because it's a laboratory material, so preparation, so it's not so bad for us. So what can be seen in the right is that the response is directly dependent on the NO2 concentration. And in the bottom in the right also we could show that cycled temperature mode is seems efficient to make also the detection. So to conclude, first we made thin films and nanofibers oxide that were able to make the detection of NO2, of ozone and CO, and are moderate even at low or room temperature. A graphene sensitive layer were also made, and they shown that they were able to make room temperature detection. The disadvantage that is obtained now, it's one which is for all the MOX gas sensor, is the cross sensitivity. So for graphene, what is interesting is that the graphene is made by electro-hydrodynamic printing, and then this is a technique which is cost-effective with a simple operating condition that can be made at ambient temperature and pressure, with also high versatility and flexibility, and we can make many different materials by changing the solution or the dispersion. What was also interesting is that UV irradiation could improve the sensing performance, the response, the recovery time, and the linearity, stability. Sputtering technique used in Sirimat was also interesting because it could be fully compatible with MEMS technology thanks to the use of shadow mask. And microplate based on the MEMS technologies that were made in the last laboratory were really efficient, had a wide temperature range with low consumption, less than 50 milliwatt, were homogeneous. We could use a shadow mask, which is necessary for sputtering, and they were able to work or in constant or cycled temperature mode. To finish, after that, you will see in the GT3 that some MOX modules were made. What is important for us is that we integrated the sensor. First were the commercial sensor selected by UX with different composition, different references, able to detect different gases, and with different range and different power heating. The power heating is quite interesting because it's mostly in something which is a low consumption. And then for the GT2 materials, sensors that have been prepared, so the prototype were made. That we made different prototypes from zinc oxide gallium thin films with different thickness, different temperature mode. So we use constant and cycled temperature mode, and we use also different power rating. And it is same for CSIC materials that could be integrated on the microsensor prototypes, and then SNO2 nanofibers were deposited with different doping, and they were managed, operated at different power. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lionel. Thanks for clarifying such a complex a priori matter for us. We would now like to welcome Jesús Lozano Rogado from the University of Extremadura, who studied multi-sensor systems for real-time monitoring of air pollution. He also joined us here today in Barcelona. When you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you for your kind presentation. I will present the main results and the main prototypes that we have developed in the framework of the task group 3 and 4. This is the outline of my presentation. I will start by giving you a brief objectives of this group task. I will show you the participant in these two group tasks. I will explain briefly the control architecture and the specification of the different prototypes that we have developed in this task group. And after that, I will explain the prototypes developed for air quality monitoring and the main results that we have obtained with that. And I will conclude with a summary of the main results of this task group. Okay, the participants in these two task groups, GT3, are the University of Extremadura, the company RAI Ingeniería Electrónica, the CSIC, and the CNRS. And then in GT4, that is coordinated by RAI Ingeniería Electrónica, participate also University of Extremadura, CSIC, Junta de Extremadura, Diputación de Ávila, AMB, Aiguasol, the company Aiguasol, the University of Évora, and University of Coimbra. The main objectives of these two task groups is the development of a low-cost, low-consumption, modular and easy-to-use electronic systems based on gas sensor for the real-time measurement of air quality. This is the main objective of these two task groups, and the other objective is the fabrication of the different prototypes of this electronic system adapted for the air quality monitoring platforms that have Esther explained before. Two different products are generated in these task groups. The first is the prototypes that I will describe later, and some publications or scientific publication with the description of these prototypes. Now I'm going to explain briefly the architecture of control of the prototypes that we have developed in these task groups. The architecture is based on the use of a microcontroller that are connected to different electronic circuits that measure the signal that the gas and particle matter sensors give when a change in the concentration of the different pollutants is given in the air. And other sensors like temperature and relative humidity sensor also include. The microcontroller also needs power supply system in order to have the energy for the correct functioning, and also a memory to store the data. And at the end, the microcontroller uses a communication module in order to send the data of the sensor to the cloud that is developed in the GT5 of this project. So this is the main architecture, and it is adapted for the different prototypes that will be installed or have been installed in the different platforms. After that, we have specified the main characteristics of the different prototypes that we have developed in the project. As you can see here, we have 5 different prototypes with 5 different specifications. The different specifications are related with the characteristics of the prototypes in the platform in which they will be installed. So, for example, in the case of the prototypes for drones, they use battery, and for example, in the case of citizen or bikes, they use different type of sensors, and in the case of, for example, metal oxide sensor, they use AC powered instead of a battery, for example. I will describe these characteristics in the next slides. Okay, after we have defined the different specifications, we started in developing different prototypes to do a test campaigns of this electronic system. We have evaluated different commercial sensors, different sensors for different pollutants and particle matter, and we did a small campaign for testing not only the sensor but also the electronics. And in some cases, for example, you can see here some of the first results in which you have in red color the reference values, and in black the values of our devices. In some cases, we obtain good results in measuring the different pollutants, but in other cases, the results are not so good. So we had to modify our prototypes and in order to obtain better results. So now I'm going to explain, I have said before, the 5 different prototypes that have been developed in this project. The first one is a prototype for stationary and mobile air quality monitoring units. These devices have been installed in fixed reference station for the measurement of air quality monitoring. This device is composed by an electronic system, like you can see in the picture on the left. This is a home developed electronics by University of Extremadura, and in the right side you can see the different components that are used in this prototype. We have used a pump for taking the air from the ambient air to the sensors. In this prototype we have used 4 electrochemical sensors and a particle matter sensor, and it also includes a 3G module in order to send the data to the cloud. This device has been installed in a number of platforms, as Esther has shown in the previous presentation, and as you can see here, in my opinion, good results have obtained. As you can see here, the reference measurement is very similar to the measurement that we have obtained with these prototypes. It is an example of the results on O3, and in the case of particle matter, we have obtained similar results in which the result or the value that we obtain with this low-cost sensor is very similar to the value that we obtain with the reference station that has a cost maybe 100 times. Another prototype that in this case has been developed by RAI Ingeniería Electrónica is a prototype for stationary and mobile AQM units, similar to the previous one, but in this case it uses metal oxide gas sensor. As you can see in the left, the system is composed by a pump, an electrovalve, in order to take the air and carry it from the ambient air to the sensor cell, the power supply, the electronics and communications module, and another device, or another print circuit board for the sensor. As you can see in the picture on the right, 3 different devices has been developed for 3 different array of sensors. The first one is a commercial array, and the second an array of sensors developed by CSIC, and the third an array of sensors developed by CNRS. The instrumentation system is the same, but the sensors are different. As you can see in the picture on the left, it is the circuit board for commercial gas sensor, and in the right you have the print circuit board for the CSIC and CNRS sensor. They use the same board. These are the main characteristics and polarization of the sensors used, both commercial and nanosensors developed in the project that Lionel has explained in the previous presentation. And here we have the results that we have, an example of the result that we have obtained with these sensors. Here you have the graph of the reference station for NO2 and O3 gases, and here you can observe the daily oscillation of these pollutants due to the human activity and the weather. And now you can see the results with the metal oxide commercial sensor, in which you can also see this oscillation. And here we have the results of the nanosensors developed by the CSIC. And at the end, the results with this nanosensor developed by CNRS. These are only the time values. We have to do now additional data processing in order to predict the concentration by this signal of the sensor. Now I am going to describe another prototype. In this case, the main characteristic of this prototype is that it's a mobile device for being installed in bikes. So it is not a fixed equipment like the 2 previous ones, but also it is a prototype for moving. So as you can see, this prototype has been developed by RAI Ingeniería Electrónica. You can see on the left side the electronic system and the particle matter sensor. It uses a particle matter sensor and 3 electrochemical sensors for measuring NO2, CO, and O3. And on the right side, you can see the device installed in a bicycle. This device has been used for different campaigns in Barcelona, in Ávila, and now in Toulouse. And as it is a mobile unit, we have to represent in this map the values obtained by the different sensors. Here you can see an example of one of the campaigns, in which you can see each point in the map correspond to one measurement. You have different points for different bikes. In this case, these are the results that we have obtained for gases, and in this other picture, or this other map, we can see the results of particle matter sensor. The different colors that you can see here correspond to the level of concentration of the gases and the particle matter. In green color, you have a very good air quality index, and in the red color, a bad quality index. And another prototype for air quality monitoring. This case is also a mobile unit, but not for bikes, but also for citizens. So it has a particle matter sensor and different metal oxide for gas sensor. These are commercial ones, and as you can see in the picture, it has a very reduced size in order to be carried by the citizens and to do, for example, by walking, different air quality maps. Here in the right, you can see the device installed by a citizen in the belt. And in the left side, you can see the device and the application that we have developed for the citizen in order to have to see or to check the air quality that they are measuring. And this device connects by Bluetooth protocol to the smartphone, and the smartphone sends the data to the cloud. We have here also an example of the air quality. We have represented the values that the different citizens send to the cloud, and we have represented in a map, and in the same way than in the previous maps, the green color means good air quality. And the same for particle matter sensor, and you can see here the results of one of the campaign as an example. Okay, so the last prototype that we, in this case, like in the previous one, we have developed in the University of Extremadura, is an electronic system for using in drones. So they are also a mobile system. We have adapted the electronic system for measuring, in this case, 4 electrochemical gas sensors for measuring NO, NO2, CO, and O3. And we have adapted with a battery and with a communication system to include in a drone. We have also included, as you can see there, a long tube for taking the sample of the air outside of the wind area of the drone, in order to avoid the interferences of the movement of the drone. Here you can see a video, a very short video of the device in a test in a football camp. We have generated NO2 by a chemical reaction, and we have the drone is moving around the emitting source. In a moment, the drone is near the source, and as you can see here in the graph, it detects when it is near and detects a peak in the concentration of the in this case the NO2 with the sensor. Okay, so I will summarize this the activities of these GT3 and GT4 task groups. At the beginning, we have establish the objectives and the specification related with low cost, low size and low consumption. We have developed 5 different prototypes that are the main products of this task group. All of them have been working for a lot of months, and in another presentation the results and the validation campaign will be explained deeply. We are very satisfied because good results and the objectives has been accomplished. And for a near future, we need additional data processing for obtaining better results in the prediction of the air quality index or the prediction of the concentrations of the different pollutants. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you very much for helping us understand the development and functioning of these 5 reliable prototypes for real-time AQM. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to encourage you to write any questions you might have in the chat box so that we can reply to them later. And our next speaker is Bernadette Ribeiro from the University of Coimbra, who specialized on cloud platform as a service for air quality evaluation, prediction, and information. I'm happy to announce that she's also here with us.
Thank you, Ivana, for your introduction. Good morning, everyone. I will talk about the task group 5, where our main focus was to develop a cloud platform system able to access the data, to store the data, to process the data. The rationale behind this cloud platform is to provide information and visualization to the user in a given area or region, and namely in the sense of the air quality prediction, and also provide this information and visualization to the stakeholders, namely the public in general, and to the society. The participants of this task are, besides University of Coimbra, University of Évora, University of Extremadura, the companies IRA and Aiguasol. And the specific objectives are an access module for the data, providing cloud as a service, the module of sensors calibration, a module to predict the toxic pollutants in the gases for prediction, and also develop the client applications for web and also for the mobile applications in both operative systems like iOS and Android. For the main products of this task group, we have the cloud platform, the machine learning calibration and air quality prediction, and the dissemination of the project. Let me just go for an outline and a roadmap of this presentation, and I will talk briefly on the NanoSen-AQM project, focus on the cloud platform. We'll emphasize the importance of the machine learning technology for air quality prediction and calibration, and we'll end the presentation with results and visualization information to the public and to the stakeholders in our product. So regarding, as we have seen from the previous speakers, the NanoSen-AQM project was able to produce materials and nanosensors in one sense, produce or to develop electronics, as our previous speaker has done, with the sensors that ultimately are able to provide, to make accessible the data to our platform. And also to develop the air quality platform. For this, 2-3 years ago, we have looked at the specification, the specific requirements for our platform. We looked at the Open AQ, which is a platform with free sources from the governments and free access to data. And also it's developed in Amazon Web Services technology, and but has no low-cost sensors. The data is worldwide distributed, so it was very practical to have this embedded in our platform. We also looked at some platforms in spatial mesometer to specify the characteristics that we want ours to have. And in particular, this air quality platform provides real-time, dynamic, low granularity prediction. However, has no low-cost sensors and is directed to the enterprise sector, namely to companies that have smart homes, air purification, etc. It's worthwhile to mention that in the last 2-3 years, many platforms have been populated in the web. Here are only some that have more than 10,000 downloads, but our platform was made looking at the characteristics of various platforms at the time, and ultimately we could have the algorithms in the processing module that are validated in the campaigns. Namely, here you can see the measurements in the metropolitan area of Barcelona with sensor personal devices, fixed stations, and also bikes. Let me now go to the cloud platform and have a look at our platform, the front page of our platform, with a side menu with different functionalities. Just for the following, I will show a snapshot of a video clip that was presented in the MOOC, in the massive open online course, and that is also part of our third product, that is the dissemination. So here we have. Now we can go to the details of the NanoSen-AQM platform and the technologies behind. So I will start with the cloud system backend, which provides the data from the air quality measurements, process the data using the calibration functions. This calibration module is by software, fetch air quality data from the platforms, and also developed client applications for web and also the operating systems, iOS and Android, as I said before. The technology, from the technology point of view, one important aspect is the database, time series database, and the technology timescale. But also we have other components that are really important, that are the crawlers to fetch the data from the third parties, like the OpenAQ. But we have also the modules for calibration and all the possibility to implement the client applications that serve in these two operating systems. For getting the data from the electronic devices, we have used the technology, the Kafka and REST technology. And for the client applications, we have used Django application server, which can implement the web services that we need for our platform. In which respect the cloud system front end, we have used the technology Ionic, where we write once code and run in the web and operating systems that I have been telling about. Regarding the, you can just check after this next this slide. You can see our a link for our platform that is in production, so nanosen-AQM.dei.uc.pt, and you can scan and access all the functionalities that our platform has. Finally, I will show a snapshot of our interface for the Android application. With the first on the left-hand side, you can see a map where with the cluster closest to the person, where the person is. You can see also the menu, the side menu, and on the central part you can see the geographical map with our sensors and also with the sensors from the OpenIQ free source platform. Next, we were looking at Avila, and you can check the air quality index for Avila area, also a meteorological prediction and the map of Avila. And on the right hand side, you can check the concentrations of the pollutant gases and the historical data from the last 100 days for the air quality index. Now we can just go back and see the platform in the terms of the technology behind our platform. And for this machine learning technology, we have these four components: the calibration, the model, results, and the prediction, as well as video from also from the MOOC for explaining the forecasting. Now, let me just talk in the two stages about the outlier detection and accommodation for the first stage of sensors calibration by software, and also the following stage of calibration and gas interference. For the results, you can see here the NO2 calibration levels, where the reference is in the blue color. The real data is in the accessed from the electronic devices and just uploaded in our platform in green, and in gray the adjusted value. We could here get around 80% of gain for the calibration values when we compare with the raw values. Next, I will have also the slide shows the forecast model. In this case, on the right hand side, you can see the solid line with the historical data corresponding to 24 hours, and the dashed line corresponding to 12 hours. It's important to notice that respecting to the calibration, the model is in just the function is can be selected in the platform, and for the forecasting, in this case for O3, the user can invoke the prediction stage. In the next slide, where I put here forecasting, you will see a snapshot of the video clip that we presented in the MOOC in June, last May, June. So let's see.
We are going to use as input that we call our window size. With this window as input, let's try to predict the ozone concentrations for the upcoming 12 hours after the window, denoted by the term predict steps in this graph. We can think about the input x as a vector with length 24 and the output y as a vector of length 12. Let's consider each pair xy as an example of the correct output for a given input. We are going to walk through the series one step at a time, collecting the examples. They are going to be used to develop our forecast solution by training a model.
So getting back to this machine learning technology, we have used as basic algorithms linear regression for the calibration and support vector machines for also calibration. And for forecasting, other algorithms like SARIMA and other algorithms like called smooth exponential, and I will present the results for the forecasting in the next part. So here we can just focus on the air quality monitoring in real time. I think it was already been told about this European Air Quality Index, which we have right here. And in this index we have 5 levels. The lowest number, so low, the number 1, means that air is of good quality, and highest number means that air is poor. For choosing or for determining the air quality index, we choose the poorest level for the pollutants. So, for example, if you have 4 gases with very good levels, and there is one that has a bad value, it is in the range of poor, the final index will be this poor level. For the testing of our algorithms, we have, as already been told, various campaigns. So the field validation was done in the campaigns around the rural area, natural area, the industrial area, and also in town. So here are the Badajoz, Avila, Évora, Barcelona, Lisbon, and Science, the industrial area of Science. Let me back to the visualization part, which is one important aspect of what our platform can do. And here we have data from the campaigns on Badajoz and Avila for the prediction, the forecast. On the left-hand side, you can see the NO2 with 24 hours forecast and 72 hours of current data. So historical data, past and current data, which is shown with the red color. And you can see on the left also with the blue color, you can check the calibrated NO2 real value, so the ground truth, and the prediction using the SARIMA method in gray. The error on this prediction is around, or the performance or the capability of prediction has a performance of around 78-80%, which is really good. On the right hand side, you can see another method, faster, and for the campaign in Avila, where the red shows the historical data that you have So in the y-axis for both graphs, we have the concentration, and on the x-axis we have the time hourly, the prediction in hourly. The blue line again represents the NEO, in this case, ground calibrated real values, so the ground truth, and in gray you can see the predicted values. This must be said that these algorithms were tested offline, but we have the online values, the real-time values in our platform. This snapshot is taken from our web page, from our web platform, our cloud platform, in the cluster of Avila with the sensor just indicated on the vertical line. This indicates several gases. In the solid lines, several gases that are reported on the subject header, and the prediction, the dashed lines, for the last 24 hours. Our algorithms or our platform can also show the last 48 hours or the last 72 hours. Lastly, I have to, so I end this conclusion, but before I this presentation, before I end, I want to thank all the many people that worked on this to make this product in production, and also to have the web in production and the experimental part of the mobile application. So the UC team, I want to stress all the team and also the web team, the people from Extremadura, Aiguasol, and Ray. And so I end the presentation. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
I'm not sure there are any questions. Don't be shy. Please write down any questions you might have in the question box in the chat. And if we don't address them now, we will address them later at the end of the conference, of the first day of the conference. So thank you, Bernadette. That was very inspiring. Thank you. Thanks to all the experts. As I announced earlier, we would like you to watch a video showing some of the project results in Avila and Barcelona. This video will be followed by a well-deserved coffee break, but please make sure that you're back at exactly 12:05 so that we can start the next round table at the right time. So enjoy the video, enjoy the coffee break, and see you at 12:05. Thank you very much.
No se ve, no huele, casi no se oye y a veces apenas se siente. El aire nos envuelve, en la montaña, en el campo, en la ciudad, en casa. Pero hay que cuidarlo, porque cuidarlo es cuidarnos. La Diputación de Ávila, a través del proyecto europeo NanoSen, apuesta por la calidad del aire, por la vida, por el futuro. Diputación de Ávila.
L'Interreg Sudoe NanoSen-AQM és un projecte que es desenvolupa a la regió sud-europea, agrupa socis de Portugal, França i Espanya. En el cas concret d'AMB estem portant 3 pilots i l'objectiu principal del projecte és desenvolupar uns sensors en el marc del propi projecte que mesuri la qualitat de l'aire en moviment i a partir d'aquestes dades per establir diferents accions que es puguin fer per millorar la qualitat de l'aire. En el cas de l'AMB hem fet un pilot en 3 municipis. Un ha sigut a Sant Cugat, l'altre ha sigut a Hospitalet i a Sant Adrià del Besòs. En aquests 3 municipis hi hem tingut uns sensors que detecten la qualitat de l'aire en moviment, que s'han col·locat a voluntaris que han participat en aquest projecte, que veu es desplacen en bicicleta o es desplacen a peu.
Cada día pues, cumplimos en nuestra jornada de trabajo pues, el pasearlo y ir captando datos.
Hem de descarregar una aplicació al mòbil, està connectada amb el sensor i una vegada l'engegues comença a funcionar i transmet les dades a través de l'aplicació de la qualitat de l'aire y de las partículas.
Es una mini estación de calidad del aire y ella misma va absorbiendo con un ventilador el aire y va analizándolo dentro y lo va almacenando. Y esos datos que va almacenando, una vez por semana tenemos que acercarnos a la central que hay fija y solo estando 10 minutos cerca de ella automáticamente descarga los datos.
Aquest és el panell LIC, és un panell que s'ha finançat, s'ha subvencionat amb el projecte NanoSen-AQM, i aquest panell el que fa és informar-nos sobre la qualitat de l'aire i donar-nos indicacions de com podem, bones pràctiques i també com protegir la nostra salut. El que ens està mostrant són les dades de l'estació de mesura oficial que té la Generalitat aquí a Sant Adrià del Besòs. I llavors aquí veiem el primer panell, la primera pantalla, que ens mostra els 3 contaminants principals, diòxid de nitrogen, ozó i partícules en suspensió. Llavors, a més, és tàctil, podem entrar dins d'un dels contaminants i veure les lectures que ens està donant.
Són uns pilots que, si els resultats són bons, la idea seria escalar aquest projecte per fer mesuraments a molts més punts de molts municipis metropolitans per poder detectar punts conflictius que hi hagin en municipis, si és que n'hi ha, quin és l'origen d'aquesta problemàtica associada a qualitat de l'aire i quines accions es podrien fer per millorar en aquell punt d'aquell municipi la qualitat de l'aire que hi ha.
Quin objectiu final aconseguirem amb això? Poder veure aquí si tenim punts conflictius a la ciutat i que podem incidir en aquests punts. Incidir de quina forma? Podem proposar implantar més carrils bici, implantar zones peatonals i uns espais més accessibles per treure el cotxe d'aquí. La voluntat és millorar la qualitat de l'aire dels ciutadans.
L'objectiu d'aquesta prova pilot és veure quina és la situació de la nostra ciutat, quines mesures podríem prendre com a Ajuntament per reduir i millorar aquesta qualitat de l'aire.
So, after developing the sensors, several pilot tests were made in some of the partner regions, like Ávila, Extremadura, Évora, and the Barcelona metropolitan area. And we are eager to learn more about these different actions and their results. To this end, let me introduce you to our experts. But before that, I'll just remind you to ask as many questions as you wish. We will reply to them in this short Q&A session we have booked after the panel discussion. All the questions that we have received so far will be
recording in progress.
Oops. Sorry, we're having technical. Okay. So all the questions you've already asked, we will reply to them via email or the chat. So don't worry. But we're going to reply live to the questions you ask from now on for the next panel discussion. So, first we have Eduardo Pinilla Gil from the University of Extremadura, who will give us an overview and a global evaluation of pilot tests. When you're ready, Eduardo.
Thank you for your presentation. Well, in this presentation, I will give a brief overview and global evaluation of pilot tests, and after me, the rest of the members of the task group 6 will give detailed information about the campaigns developed in the different areas of the project. So this part about the pilot tests is within the GT6 field validation of the integrated electronic system and cloud system for air quality monitoring. So we have here a wide range of activities, total of 6 activities.
which are directed for the field evaluation of the sensor, but also to some additional aspects like the evaluation of sensor cost or the feasibility of the use of the sensors for the use in air quality monitoring network, I mean official networks. So we have produced a total of five products related with these activities, as you see in the slide. Well, about these three activities, 8.6.1, 6.5, and 6.6, my colleagues later after me will talk with details about this. I will give just a very brief overview. As you have seen in previous presentation, we have tested different, five kinds of sensors. Fixed sensors located in the reference unit to validate the results. Fixed sensor developed by the project, metal oxide sensors. Airborne sensors in drone, in bikes, and in citizens. So this is the overview of the time frame of the campaigns that we have developed between 2020 and 2021. It was planned to make more campaigns, but because of the pandemic, we had to reduce the time frame. But anyway, we have been able to generate a good amount of results to check the behavior of the sensors in the field in many different environments. These are the locations that you have seen also before in Portugal, in Extremadura, in Portugal Sines and Évora, in Extremadura, Badajoz and Parque Nacional de Monfragüe, in Ávila, 3 locations, Navarredonda de Gredos, el Barco de Ávila in Ávila, and here in area metropolitana of Barcelona, Sant Cugat, L'Hospitalet in Sant Adrià. You will receive detailed information after me from the host of these campaigns. So I will talk a bit more about these activities 6.2, 6.3 and 6.4. About activity 6.2, this is directed to the evaluation of the performance, analytical performance of the sensors in the field. And we have generated a product 6.2, which is a user guide for sensor data validation, but actually we have developed more than the user guide because we have generated an informatic tool, and this is an Excel macro, so that the non-technical user can eventually test the performance of the sensor that they have acquired, commercially acquired, by introducing in this application, the data measured by their sensors and the data from the reference unit. So this is actually a tool for the user to know if they are generating valid results to take decisions about the air quality in the area. We have followed for this application the European Guide for Field Validation of Air Quality Sensors, which is a document of 2010. And you can introduce any type of pair data sets, 10-minute average, hourly, or so on, so that you can, it's a flexible instrument in this way. So you will receive advice about the overall performance of the sensor under validation. Well, this application has different parts about instruction for the user. You have to introduce the uncertainty of the reference instrument. You upload the data from the sensors and from the reference instrument. You will obtain, I will give now some examples of the regression and the theoretical response and the sensor response. And you can access to the Excel document behind the macro so that you can consult detailed information about the calculation behind. And here in this frame, you will obtain the advice about the confidence level of your measurements in terms of slope and intercept. And you will receive also the expand uncertainty of your sensor that you can compare with the European directive to check if your results are okay or not. These are some examples of the output of the application. So you can see this is just a single sample, a very short sample. By processing the data about multilinear regression, you obtain, or we have obtained in this case, some quite high uncertainty in the range of 57 to to 65%. With for ozone, we have obtained better results, around 35 to 30%. I remind that the European directive established a limit of 15% for this, so this is nearly double, so we need additional refinement to validate this sensor for regular use in air quality networks, but anyway, they are promising results. Using the neural network, we are in the same range, around 50% for nitrogen dioxide, and 30 to 36%, 37% for ozone. So this is just to show what is the performance of the application. About the evaluation of the sensor codes, we have generated a detailed deliverable, E6.3.1. This is a quite technical deliverable about the calculation of all the costs of the different parts, mounting and so on of the sensors. So the overall view is that we estimate that this can be generated around 68 to between 68 and 43 euros per unit, depending on the manufacturing procedure. So this is similar to the cost that you can obtain for the sensors in the market. Of course, you have to add also electronic systems, software, and so on, and maintenance, but the overall estimation of the cost is like this. About the feasibility of the sensor, how the managers feel that they can use this sensor for the air quality monitoring networks, we have distributed a survey to officers, managers of the air quality monitoring network to test their opinion. And well, this is just one shot of the survey. Maybe this is the most relevant question. How do you value the functioning of the low-cost sensors? So you can see that the situation is quite promising, because most of them think that they can give an average or good performance. Some of them are more critical. And in the right side of the slide, you see three conclusions of this survey. The manager considered that the low-cost sensor may provide valuable information, especially to give indicative values and collecting massive data. You know that the reference units are quite expensive, so in this case, the sensors can provide a more distributed with a very high spatial resolution, that this information can be then uploaded to the network, compared with the reference, and eventually you can obtain richer information about air quality in the area. They are quite skeptical about using the data with the same degree of representativeness as the measurement that they make with a standard fixed instrument. This is normal, because they are accustomed to use a very good maintenance instrument with the strict condition of temperature, humidity, and so on. But anyway, there is a way to follow for the refinement of the sensors. And finally, the managers consider that it is essential to regulate the use of low-cost sensors, making both calibrations and verification mandatory. And I think this is a really relevant conclusion of the survey, because you know that the managers are quite critical, because the final users may demand the authorities or may publish some results claiming that the air quality is bad or is defective. So this is really essential. That was our validation tool that we have constructed for validating the behavior of the sensor. We think this is a really good contribution of this project in this way, in the way that anyone that is generating a data with a sensor is really sure that the results are okay and they are valid for estimating the air quality. So thank you so much. I will now pass the word to the rest of the colleagues on the GTCs that I acknowledge their contribution to the very diverse and complex activities of this task force, and thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Eduardo, for this valuable general overview of the project. Next, we would like to hear about the results in Ávila with Luisa Martín from the Diputación de Ávila, who's connected online. When you're ready.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Hope you can hear me and see me properly. First, let me excuse myself for not being today with you there in Barcelona. I would love to, because this has been a fantastic partnership. We have been working since 2018 with remarkable results results that I'm going to try to introduce you a little bit in my presentation. Let me also congrats the organization of the event that is being very, very fruitful and interesting. So I'm going to present the air quality control campaigns that we have been developing in the province of Avila. Excuse me, but I'm going through a summer cold and I can really, my voice is a little bit damaged, so I hope you can understand me again properly. In Avila, we have been working, trying to test these devices since August 2020. And we've been in different places around the province. First, let me introduce the station, the reference station that we have been using. Next, please. Which belongs to the regional administration, to Junta de Castilla y León. Without this collaboration, it wouldn't be able to develop the project in Avila, as they are in charge of the air quality management and control in the region of Castilla y León. And this reference station from Junta de Castilla y León, as you can see there, provides us information about target pollutants like ozone, NO2, SO2, and particulates. And we have been using this information to test the, as I was saying, the equipments, the nanosensors that have been developed in the frame of the project. Next, please. The campaigns, now we are at this moment working in the village of Fontiveros, and we will be there and in Avila City to the end of the year, took place in Navarredonda de Gredos, a village in the Sierra de Gredos, in the famous natural park of Sierra de Gredos, also in Arenas de San Pedro, for a few days, where the Congress that our leader mentioned at the beginning of the journey today took place, the Congress of the European Congress of Air Quality Management. We have been also in El Barco de Ávila, close to Extremadura, and as I say in the beginning, in Ávila City and in Fontiveros. Next, please. We have tested fixed systems, as Eduardo Pinilla already explained, developed with the project, but also some fixed systems that are already in the market or that private companies have provided us, and mobile systems using in persons that have made parkours in the cities that I mentioned, and also by installing devices in bicycles, in electrical bicycles. I will tell you later, because we are not only working on air quality management and control, but also promoting sustainable mobility in the province. As you can see there, the nanosensors installed in the reference station here in Avila, and the location in the city. The identification of these two devices are, as you can see there, FE-CO7 and FE-CO8. Next, please. Another two different devices, FE-CO3 and FE-CO4 installed in Fontiveros. In the campaign, we are already working at this moment, and also in the map, you can see where are located. The place is a public building that belongs to Avila County Council, is the center of San Juan de la Cruz interpretation, as this saint was born in the city, in the small village of Fontiveros. Next, please. Here you can see the parcours we have done in Avila city, installed in persons and controlling information about particulates and about ozone. Next, please. With the bicycles devices, as I told you, using electrical bicycles that the Avila County Council has in order to promote the sustainable mobility, and testing and controlling and testing about NO2 and O3. Next, please. With the bicycle devices in Avila, we have also controlled the particulates. Next, please. I'm not going to get into the details of the information, but as you can see there, we were comparing in these campaigns with the reference stations, the devices, and there's the information for O3 and particulates. Next, please. For NO and NO2 also, the comparison. Next, please. In Fontiveros with the personal devices, sorry, I forgot to remark that the color means, I think, a very high quality of the air. And there you have the information for controlling or testing particulates and O3. Next, please. Bicycle devices, testing NO2 and O3. Next, please. In Fontiveros. In Fontiveros, the particles. Next, please. In Fontiveros, the information that the nanosensors provides us about NO and particles. Next, please. The fixed devices in information in NO and NO2. Next, please. And also some information about how these campaigns have been spread all around the province by a lot of information that the local newspapers, but also regional mass medias have done. They have covered a lot all these campaigns that we have developed in the province. In Navarredonda de Gredos, next, please. In Barco de Ávila, this picture is the end of the campaign. Next, please. In Arenas de San Pedro, where the Congress took place. Next, please. In Fontiveros, as I was telling you, here you can see the electric bicycles with the nanosensors installed. Next, please. And as a conclusion, these prototypes work fine in their installation, and our technological partners in the project have tests that send this data to the web platform correctly, properly. Now the message that we will have to send, but we are already doing with materials like the video that you have the opportunity to see during the break time. The message that we have to send is that we have an excellent air quality in the province of Avila. Only ocean has remarkable but low concentrations, and we will keep collaborating and cooperating with our partners with additional with the organization of additional campaigns in different places and with mobile devices. Thank you so much. And to end, remark the very important results that we have obtained with this project in the province of Avila, and that it has provided the opportunity to Avila County Council as a local authority to start working in air quality control and management. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luisa. It was very inspiring to see that you're working on all those fronts, and we hope that you recover soon. For the pilot tests in Extremadura, we are happy to welcome Jaime Gómez Suárez from the Universidad de Extremadura on behalf of the Junta de Extremadura. He is reaching us online. When you're ready, Jaime.
Thank you very much, and hello everyone. As the presenter said, my name is Jaime Gómez from University of Extremadura, and I'm here on behalf of Isabel de la Vega from Junta de Extremadura to talk about the validation campaigns carried out in Extremadura. This is the outline that we're going to follow, starting with the introduction. Then I will explain the validation campaigns, followed by the calibration techniques, which will be the core of my presentation. And finally, I will show you the results of the campaign in Badajoz and the main conclusions. First of all, our research has been possible thanks to REPICA, which is a network for the surveillance and protection of the air quality in Extremadura. It has been designed and managed by the Junta de Extremadura with the collaboration of University of Extremadura. And it's got several devices and stations to monitor air quality in the region. And we have used this station in our research. There have been carried out different campaigns in Extremadura, specifically in Badajoz, Plasencia, and Monfragüe. And now this is the validation campaign in Badajoz, which is the one that I'm going to talk about. This validation campaign was carried out between March 12th and May 17th. Two stations, which are FEC05 and FEC06, were placed next to the reference in a high traffic area in the center of Badajoz, where we expected to get high pollutant concentrations. Next, please. And now that I have explained the campaign that I'm going to talk about, I will talk a little bit about the calibration process that we have followed. The sensor generates a response that I call a non-calibrated time series. And we have applied 3 different techniques. The first one is the most basic calibration method, which is a simple linear regression. The second one is a multilinear regression. And finally, the third one is an artificial neural network. These 3 techniques have the same objective, which is to make the original time series to look like the reference using only 1 week of the data. I'm going to briefly explain these methods one by one. Next one, please. Okay, so this is the first technique that we applied, the simple linear regression. It uses the first week of the data to calculate the calibration equations. And with these 2 equations, which is one for each station, we fix the original data and try to fit it into the reference line. Next one. The second technique, which is the multiple linear regression, uses the same idea of the simple linear regression, but with multiple inputs. In the previous case, if we wanted to calibrate the NO2, for example, we would use only the NO2 time series. Now, with the multiple linear regression, we use the data from every gaseous pollutant. Furthermore, every concentration is calculated using 2 electrodes that provides millivolts data, what we call raw millivolts values. So in the multiple linear regression, we use 10 time series as input. We have 4 pollutants and 2 electrodes for each pollutant, which makes a total of 8 input, and we also include the temperature and the relative humidity. Finally, the last calibration technique is an artificial neural network. Neural networks are very complex machine learning algorithms based on the idea of neurons in our brain. A neural network must be trained just like our brain needs to learn before making a decision. After the neural network has been trained, it is ready to make the prediction. And hopefully, if the training has been successful, the output of the network will feed the reference. Okay. So now that I have explained briefly the 3 calibration methods, I will show you the results. First of all, we will see the gaseous pollutants and then the particulate matter. Remember that for each pollutant, we will have 4 time series, 1 for the non-calibrated time series and 3 for each calibration method. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Previous one, the NO. Well, this is the result for NO2. As you no, it's not this slide. It's the previous one. Well, never mind. This is the result applying the multiple linear regression and the artificial neural network to the NO2. As you can see, the R squares value that we achieve are pretty good in our opinion, up to 8.86. Next one. Next one, please. I'm seeing the same slide. There must be have some kind of problem. Okay, this is all three. Okay, this is the results that we get for the ozone. Okay, no problem. Technical problems, it happens all the time. So this is the result for all three, the multiple linear regression and the artificial neural network. Here we achieve the R squares up to 0.95. Next one, please. For the CO, first of all, on the top, you can see the non-calibrated time series. You have not been able to see the non-calibrated time series for the previous pollutant, but it's okay. And on the bottom, you can see the results using simple linear regression. The R squares are pretty bad in this case. Next one, please. I can share screen if it's not working. If you want, I can share my screen. Maybe it's easier.
Jaime, I'm sorry we're experiencing these technical issues. We're trying to sort them out. Just give us a few seconds. I'm just being told that if you're able to share your screen with us, is that possible?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Thank you.
So what are you seeing right now?
We're seeing yours. I think it's working. Just a
It's
second.
okay?
Yes, you can go on. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Jaime.
Okay. Okay, so we start again with the results. Remember, one time series for the non-calibrated one time series for the non-calibrated data and one for each calibration rate. We start with NO. On the top, we can see the non-calibrated time series, and on the bottom, the calibration when we apply the simple linear regression. We fix some problems, but the R-square values are pretty low. Now, the results when we apply multiple linear regression on the top and artificial neural network on the bottom. We achieve R-square values up to 0.92. Now we start with NO2, first the non-calibrated time series, and on the bottom, the results when we apply the simple linear regression. Again, really bad R-square values, but it improves significantly when we apply a multiple linear regression or an artificial neural network, achieving R-square values up to 0.86. With ozone, with O3, it happens the same. First the non-calibrated, then when we apply simple linear regression, and this is when we apply multiple linear regression or artificial neural network. Finally, the last gaseous pollutant, the CO, first of all, the non-calibrated, and on the bottom, the simple linear regression with bad or low R-square values. And here we have the result when we apply multiple linear regression. And in this case, I'm not showing a result using an artificial neural network because we weren't able to get good results. So now we start with the results with the particulate matter. On the top, we have the non-calibrated time series, and on the bottom, the result when we apply simple linear regression. Here, there is something really interesting. If you see the blue line, which is one of the two stations, is giving values much higher than the reference on the other station. This happens because we are using the first week to calibrate, and if the first week is not representative of the whole time series, the result is going to be bad. In this case, the first week of the PM 2.5 of the blue line is really low, and when we use this data to calibrate, the result is really high values. We don't have this problem when we use multiple linear regression or artificial neural networks. Finally, the last pollutant, which is PM10. This is the result, the non-calibrated time series on the top and the simple linear regression on the bottom. And using multiple linear regression and artificial neural network, we get R-squared values of 0.78, 0.7. So in conclusion, the campaign in Badajoz has been carried out successfully. We believe that the sensor have worked properly. Also, the calibration stage is really important in the performance on the sensor, and as you have seen, the artificial neural network have achieved the better results in terms of R-squared values. Then the calibration period, which is 1 week, is also key, as you saw with the PM 2.5. So we have to ensure that the calibration time period is representative of the whole data. And finally, we believe that the PM sensor could be improved in further research. So if you have any question or comments.
Yeah, the questions will be at the end of all the discussions.
Okay.
Jaime, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your results with us and for
Okay,
sorting
no problem.
out those technical issues so easily. Thank you. Our next speaker is Maria João Costa from the University of Évora, who will explain the results of the pilot tests in Portugal. She's also connected online, so when you're ready.
I'm ready. Thank you, Ivana. Good morning to all the colleagues in Barcelona and also to all the participants online. So I will provide an overview of the campaigns that took place in Portugal and present the main results that we got. If we go back a little bit, please, I would just like to acknowledge all the colleagues that contributed to the success of these pilot tests in Portugal. And especially, I would like to acknowledge the collaboration of the Regional Development and Coordination Commission of Alentejo, CCDRA, which is in charge of the air quality monitoring in Alentejo region and allowed us to carry out the campaign in Sines at their station. So especially the collaboration of the colleague Paulo Belisci, which was valuable help for us. So the objective of the air quality campaigns, go back one slide, please. Okay, the objective, as I was saying, of these campaigns was to assess the abilities of these prototypes developed in the framework of the project to provide representative measurements of pollution under real conditions. So that's what we tried to do. Next slide, please. And we, in Portugal, made the campaign set two locations with different characteristics. Next slide, please. One of them, a rural environment at Évora, which is a medium-sized city with no relevant pollution sources around, and the other at Sines, a coastal environment with a lot of industry around, so it was representative of an industrial environment. Next, please. Okay, you have seen this map with all the sites considered for the campaigns. Next, please. And now you will see in Portugal the locations of Évora. Another click, please. And at Sines, where there are several air quality stations around Sines, which is located, as you see, with the pink pin. The station chosen to carry out the campaign was Sinega, because it is downwind of the predominant winds, so that means it would get some of the pollution that is coming from Sines. And you will also see two photos representative of the campaign of the installation, in this case at Évora and at Sines. Next, please. So the sensors were collocated very near the reference, of course. They were within 2 or 3 meters with each other, I would say, more or less at the same height, because the objective is to collect the same or identical air samples in order to be measuring the same thing. We were also careful, verifying that was no blocking or no obstacles around the installation. Next, please. So as for the campaigns, the one in Évora was done with the reference instruments that are from the University of Évora, installed in a mobile unit that we have at the university. And this was firstly installed in 19th of February, and the campaign lasted around 2 months. We measured meteorological parameters as well as ozone, NO2, PM10 and PM2.5. And then we moved the same prototypes to Sines station in the beginning of May. And here we used the CCDRA reference station installed at Sinega. And in fact, this campaign is still ongoing, so we have the prototypes installed there, and we are measuring the same parameters that we were measuring in Évora. Next, please. Next slide. maybe some delay or technical problem. I see very small slides. I'm not sure I should be seeing them or if the public is seeing. Okay, does everybody see the slides? I'm not sure if so this
sorry,
this,
Maria, we're having technical problems again. Just give us a few seconds. We try to sort them out.
Okay.
Just a second. Okay, Maria, it's working, so you can go on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So these slides, these plots show the time series of the hourly data. It's very small, probably. I'm not sure everybody sees, but in black we have the reference, and in green and in blue we have data from the prototypes. Here I have to say that the calibration that was applied is the simplest one until now, so it's the simple linear regression. You have seen all the different methods that can be applied in the previous presentation. So this is still work that is going on beyond the project, and we will be working with this data to improve the processing. Next slide, please. Anyway, I present here the same data as box plots to see. In the first one on the left, top left, we have NO2, top right ozone, and below we have PM10, and on the right PM2.5. And in the colored lines, you can see the different levels of air quality according to the European classification, from good to poor here. There is still very poor, but it's not represented here. So as you can see, NO2 forever presents very low results, slightly higher results measurements for ozone, but still below the limits. And then, can you give a click, please? And then you see some higher values for particles. And we took a look at these higher values, and instead of the hourly, we made the averages for the daily concentrations. And here you can see the daily concentrations. The reference shows here some peaks that are passing the limits in 2 days, in the beginning of March and at the end of March. And this is connected to what you see below, which is a natural event of transport of desert dust from the Sahara. This was very intense transports that we had last spring. And in fact, you can see some photos here that we took in Evra. These are not cloudy skies. These are skies with high loads of dust. And you can see the gray light that comes in the sky due to the great scattering. So it's interesting to note that we can detect this, and also the prototypes give some signal. I think with different processing, we'll probably will be able to improve these measurements. Next slide, please. Now going to finish. Again, we have the hourly time series for the same pollutants, NO2, ozone, PM10, PM2.5, and next click. We have the same box plots, again, NO2, very low values, slightly higher values for ozone, nevertheless, most of them below the limit. The limit is 8-hour average, and you have hourly values represented, and also low values for the particulate matter. Another one, please. So we investigated these slightly higher values from ozone. and did the 8-hour average, which is presented here, and it is below the limit, but what I would like to highlight here is the good agreement between the reference and the prototype, even with the most simple calibration method that we use. So we are very optimistic in the improvement of these results. Next one, please. Okay, and just to finish, I would like to show you some of the photos of the installation. On the left in Évora, and on the right at Sonega, Sines, the one that is still ongoing. And with this, I finish my presentation. Thank you very much. I will be available for questions after. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria, for sharing the results of the project with us. So last but not least, let's take a look at the pilot test results in the metropolitan area of Barcelona with Elena Beza from the Barcelona metropolitan area and Olga Barrachina from Aiguasol, who are here with us in the room. When you're ready, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I can see the PPT. In the case of A and B, we explain the results of the pilot in 3 municipalities, in 3 metropolitan municipalities with the support of Barcelona Regional and other measures that we realized during the same period that we realized the 3 pilots in 3 metropolitan municipalities, and the results of a survey at citizens in metropolitan area, and a conclusion related to the sensors and the results of the survey of citizens. Well, we carry out 3 pilots during 1 month in 3 metropolitan municipalities. The municipalities are Sant Cugat del Vallès, Hospitalet de Llobregat and Sant Adrià de Besòs, through volunteers who went the sensor, and they go on foot or by bikes in their daily commute. We obtain for each pollutant and volunteer this map with their track, and we see that for NO2 that we have a good air quality, but detect that we have some areas with higher concentration due to the mobility associated with commuting and the even presence of industrial park, as well as narrow streets with tall building on both sides, though it makes it difficult for pollen to scare in the air. In the case of PM10, we will see that we have a good air quality, but we have some areas with a higher concentration due to the influence of mobility in traffic routes, construction works, the effects of air moving due to the construction work, as well as the presence of loose soil in the area. However, due to the COVID, we had to shorten the length of the campaigns in the municipalities, and in order to compensate for this, we carry out other measurements like passive sensors that we put in the fixed station of Generalitat de Catalunya in the 3 municipalities and give one to each volunteer during the period that we realize the campaigns. And we installed a fixed sensor near to the town hall that measure all the pollutants too. The results that we obtain with these 2 other low-cost sensors are very similar to the sensor of the project NanoSen. For further insight, we carry out a survey where we inquire citizens about air quality, and we reach around 200 answers from citizens inside and outside the metropolitan municipalities, and 93% of the citizens are residents from metropolitan municipalities. The age range that answer the survey is mainly from 36 to 50 years with a 62%, followed by the range of 51 to 65 years, and we obtain a 25%. Related to the education level, around the 88% have a high education level of the citizen that answer, and 91 are in active employment situation, and 56 are give, and 43 are home. The result shows 80% of the participants claim they know something about air quality, like that there are fixed stations in their municipality that measure this pollutant, or that there are laws that regule the concentration of these pollutants. The survey also reveals that 51 of the participants do not know what are pollutants found in their municipalities are the most determinant to their health. The remaining 49 claim that know those pollutants posing the worst risk and mention NO2 and PM10. Furthermore, results found that 63% of the participants do not know the difference between emission and emission. We think that it's relevant because if you remember at the beginning, 88% of the citizens answer the survey have higher education level, and 80% of the citizens, they think that the only source that generate these pollutants are traffic. Well, during the pilot, Olga Barrachina of Aiguasol, another partner of the project, after explained with detail, we install tactile panels called lichens that explains information to the citizen related with the air quality and recommendation. The conclusions are about low-cost sensor. We think that more projects like Interreg Sudoe NanoSen-AQM are needed to improve sensors that measure air quality anywhere and anytime, contrast the traceability between the prototype sensor and the commercial sensor, and the calibration of these contrasted with the official measurement stations. About awareness and education citizen, the survey shows the pedagogy should continue on some aspect related to air quality, such as the difference between emission and emission, since 63 affirm that they don't know the difference between these two concepts, and the mostly frequently mentioned pollutants are NO2 and PM10. Highlights the need for the citizens to be informed and take advantage of the education resources in place with exist precisely to raise awareness about air quality and related environmental uses, and it's recommended to continue developing communication and pedagogical resources to bring technical concepts about air quality closer to the general pollution, especially for the public administration. And this is all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Elena. I don't know if it starts my presentation. Okay. As Elena said, I'm going to introduce and explain a bit the task that we were doing with these panels. This task is related with the campaigns that Elena explained, and the main objective of this task was to raise awareness and on air quality pollutants and their health effects to the general public. And we did it through these air quality panels that we called lichens. The content of this presentation will be basically to explain all these prototypes of panels, the conception and design, and then the installation, and finally how we perform this this campaign through panels. Okay, unfortunately, due to the pandemic situation, these campaigns were finally done only to social media. This prototype of panels, so the conception is we have a platform, we call it Likens platform, and then there is a web page. It's accessible, likens.cat. We also have the .com and .es. And then there is an environmental viewer. This viewer is what can be seen on the screen of these panels that are installed in the street. The Likens platform is basically a local server that is storing all the air quality data. This air quality data can be gathered from any other platform that it was shown previously this morning by our colleague Bernadette. That, for example, we have the NanoSen-AQM air quality data that we developed during this project also, that is storing all this data, air quality data. As I said, there is also, for example, the official air quality platform from Generalitat de Catalunya, where we are getting official data from the reference stations here. We can also get data from there. And we could also, if we wanted, to get data from air quality sensors. The idea is that this local server is storing all the data, or the air quality data from the different pollutants, and then it's just showing them in a more easy and friendly way through the web page or the viewer. The Likens viewer, as I said, so the audience is general public, so we tried to design it in a very easy and friendly way to give just concrete and easy information about a pollutant, the level of air quality, and it was showed with 5 colors, from good air quality, the blue one, to really bad air quality. And also we created this little bird icon that was helping to show how this air quality was affecting our health. This is the Likens viewer. This viewer is the one that can be seen directly from this panel. So we have these physical panels that are installed in the street, and people walking can go and see them. They are just a screen. And they are tactile screens, so they can move through different screens and see the pollutant level. So this is the first screen, and they see, in this case, for example, on this place, we have only NO2, PM10, and ozone. We don't have PM2.5, but it was designed to consider it also as a possible pollutant to be informed about. And also on the left side, you can see that we have the health recommendations for vulnerable citizens. Then we have the other screens. If somebody that is watching these panels want to go inside each pollutant, can see that we have the NO2, for example, and we are seeing how is the air quality level at the moment with the data that are the reference station showing, for example, and the historical values from the last 24 hours. And also PM10, for example, or ozone. The health recommendations are always related with the pollutant with the with the worst air quality level. Okay, and something I forgot to say for these campaigns, the Likens were showing the air quality data coming from the reference stations in each municipality that they were installed. For this project at the moment, because we wanted to raise awareness, we weren't showing the data coming from our sensors developed during the project, because the data was not validated yet. And this is the physical panel, and sorry, there's a problem with this image. I don't know why it's seen this way, but we see this is an image of the physical panels that were developed. And this is the picture. There were 2 panels installed. One is in Hospitalet de Llobregat, inside a center for a civic center that there is in the city. in the center city, and the other one is in Sant Adrià del Besòs. It's in front of the municipality building. They were installed in March 2021, this March, and they are still installed. They were installed in a way that we could synchronize their installation with the campaigns that were performing area metropolitana of Barcelona with all the sensors. The campaigns, well, as I said, they were done they started in March and they are still installed. We installed 2 panels with this project, but we also use for the campaigns another 2 existing panels that we had in Sant Cugat del Vallès. That is another municipality where the air quality monitoring campaigns were performed. And then the campaigns, so we installed the panels, and then we did a lot of communication and dissemination campaign about air quality through social media. And as I said before, due to the COVID pandemic, we couldn't perform any other kind of activity, unfortunately. But through the social media, we have the Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We also have a blog webpage where we put some articles, news, information, information things that could be interesting for the people. For example, we explain a bit the difference between emissions and emissions that was seen that the people couldn't see the difference. We tried to explain it, and so on. That's the idea of the webpage blog. And also we use the social media that we have on the project to give more diffusion to the campaigns. And this is just some images of the Twitter and Instagram and well, the different posts that we were doing, or we have been doing during all these months. So now, as I said, the panels are installed, but since the project is ending tomorrow, we will uninstall them and see if maybe they move somewhere else. But until now, they are installed in these 3 municipalities. And that's all. Thank you very much for your attention. And I don't know if there are questions, or Ivana, it's all yours.
Thank you, Elena and Olga, for these brilliant presentations. And yes, as scheduled, it is now time for today's Q&A session on the NanoSen-AQM project results. And I think we've got some questions from the audience. They should be yes. Okay. Okay, first question is for Jesus Lozano from the University of Extremadura. Do you think that the sensors in bicycles give reliable or unreliable results, data? What is your expert opinion about that?
Okay, thank you for the question, Ben. I would like to say that the main objective of the test that we have done with the bikes is to test the electronic system. So what we have tried to do in this validation campaign is to check that the system was measuring the compounds, was able to stay well at the bicycle with vibration, in movement, was able to send the data to the cloud, and so on. What is the main? That was the main objective. About the data, the problem with these devices also is that these devices are not close to a reference station, so it is difficult to know if the data that they send are okay, or they have an error, or what else. So I agree partially with you that the data with the bikes are not the best, but we are working on doing more tests and more campaigns in trying to solve that. And another topic is how to represent the data. As you can imagine, we have a large amount of data. For example, in the case of Sant Cugat or Hospitalet, We have more than 2 weeks of data of several bicycles, so it is difficult to represent all the data at the same time. We have chosen to show all of them in a map, but there are all the data of different days, different bicycle, and maybe we will do additional processing, but for showing a general overview of the data and that the devices works okay, for us is enough. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much, Jesus, for your kind answer. And second question is for Bernadette Ribeiro from the University of Coimbra. Okay, you mentioned that the NanoSen-AQM platform can predict for the following 48 or 72 hours. It's a multiple question. So the first part of that question is, what's the percentage of accuracy of that prediction?
Thank you for the question. According to our results, for the methods that we have set up, the certainty, the performance of success is about 80%. So the error in our methods for the pollutant gas prediction varies in the range. It depends on the pollutant gas. So it varies in the range from 20 to 30%. So according to our test results, that was the performance of success.
Thank you. And which are the pollutants and the zones where these predictions are made or analyzed?
So the pollutants we have from the project are NO, NO2, the O3, PM2.5, and PM particle matter 10. However, the platform is prepared to have any other pollutant.
Okay, thank you. And where exactly can we check that platform?
The platform can be checked on the in the link address nanoaqm.dei.uc.pt and NanoSen-AQM platform. And predictions can be seen in the platform. Whenever you choose a location, you have some sensors that are coupled in this location. We call them cluster. And provided you have at least 24 hours of historical data, you can see, you can check the prediction. If you can also, if you have 48 or 72 hours, you can also see the prediction.
Thank you very much, Bernadette. And we have time for a last question, which is, have you tested volatile organic compound sensors? And that question is not specified, but maybe Jesus could reply to that.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Sure. Or maybe Elena or Olga, but have you tested volatile organic compound sensors?
We don't, the volatile, the organic component, the volatile organic compounds are not the target compounds of this project, because they are more related with indoor air quality. But some of the sensors that we have used are able to detect them. For example, the metal oxide gas sensor that have been developed in the task group number 2, and for example, the devices, the prototype for citizens are able to detect these volatile compounds, but are not the objective of this project. So maybe in a future project, we could afford this task and measure them.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, unfortunately, we don't have time for another question, but I'd like to thank you all for being here today. It was a pleasure to share your knowledge and experience. And based on the presentations we've heard so far, we can clearly conclude that the development of low-cost electronic systems and prototypes to measure air quality in real time is possible. This valuable information enhances us to obtain air quality data in several locations, to detect areas with irregular air quality, to carry out long-term measurements to detect the issue, and apply corrective measures to improve air quality for the citizen. Well, we've reached the end of day 1 of the NanoSen-AQM conference, but please remember that you can learn more through the poster and video sections, or keep interacting with the rest of participants through the platform, which will be functioning until the 10th of July. 10th of July. Thank you all very much for your attention. I'll see you again tomorrow at 9:30 for another exciting round of speeches and discussions. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for having us here. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.